crop circles and also crop circle investigators. Just like in the United States, you get the people who are investigating these things seemingly butting heads with authorities who are out there doing their own investigations, but sometimes it seems unclear whether they're investigating the phenomenon or the people investigating the phenomenon.
Oh.
But I mean, there's a lot of strange effects on electromagnetic equipment, camera equipment, and the physiology and consciousness of certain people who go into the circles. There's been a wide variety of sensations and buzzing sounds and other things associated with some crop circles. But again, not everybody hears it, not everybody experiences it, so you know, is that person just hypersensitive or is everybody else just hyper dull? I think probably
or crazy.
A few crazies too.
Right.
But, it's definitely like all these other things very intriguing, and again it has connections back to the classic modern UFO era with what were called saucer nests. At the time, there were reports of UFOs seen rising out of certain tidal areas where there was a large amount of reeds, like that go out of the water. And when these were, again, the UFO was seen rising from an area that was inaccessible, except with a lot of effort. And when they traipsed out there and found where they saw it come up from, they found these saucer nests, these swirled reeds. And so, and even in the fast forwarding to the more modern crop circles, there's been cases where they're found out in the middle of nowhere. And it's like, well, if somebody was doing this, half the point is they want somebody to find it.
Right. Yeah.
So why would there be, you know?
But those weren't the fancy ones. They were just the
Typically, yeah. They're not the pictogram stuff.
pictograms,
or
if you will. Yeah.
Well,
more elaborate stuff. Yeah.
what about like the flight lines in Peru and stuff? I'm sure you've seen those. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think those probably make more sense to us in terms of shamanistic interpretation and look at them. There's one of the researchers we had speak at the Texas Ghost Lights conference I mentioned that we held a few years ago. Is a Earthlights researcher and Earth Mysteries researcher named Paul Devereaux. He's an expert on megalithic sites, Stonehenge type sites, and ancient cultures. But he's also an expert on shamanism, and his investigations into the Nazca lines and these other these pictograms that are huge, laid out over large
they're
areas.
big.
Again, you know, the folks are like, how could they have drawn them, you know, without if they weren't able to see them from above?
Yeah, look at the pyramids.
Geometry.
He seems to think that it has to do with out-of-body experiences of shamans while they're in the trance
Interesting.
state. And that might be how they were able to see it from a different angle. Now, he'd be I went to an incredible conference that he put on in London in 1999, and one of the things that he kept stressing was people kept talking about out-of-body this, out-of-body that, astral this, astral that. And he was saying, well, the one thing we know about consciousness is it's not bound by time and space. Everything about parapsychological research seems to indicate that the mind can go anywhere and any when. So to describe something as being out of body is just
almost like remote viewing or something, huh?
Well, it's just like the whole concept. It's like your mind doesn't have its own body. It can go anywhere.
Right. I mean, we've learned that, you know, doing hypnosis and stuff. Like,
a lot of those pictograms too, though. I mean, they're long, straight lines, and he conceives of that. There's some traditions in shaman research, some research into shamanism, where there seems to be a predisposition towards almost like a runway type of thing for the spirit of the soul.
Oh wow!
So maybe some connection to that too.
I thought you were going to say like where they do like oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Where they walk the distance, they walk around the perimeter of it and kind of put themselves into a trance.
Like a labyrinth?
Yeah, kind of thing. Can't remember what it's called right now. There's a certain word for it, but
circumambulation or
I know there's like ancient paths that that shamans
Well,
would walk to kind of put themselves into a trance. I can't remember what it's called.
It reminds me of the ley line concept too. But I know that yeah, there's a lot of ideas about walking a labyrinth to center oneself.
There you go.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, just, I used to walk a lot, and walking would actually center me, and that was a lot of times how I would do the meditation thing, just by walking.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Before we run out of time, I want to talk about abductions for a little bit, because we have a friend who tends to wake up at a certain time. Like, it doesn't happen to her all the time, but there'll be a period of time where she wakes up at the same time every night, and she has a real fear of
Just the whole gray, if
Yeah.
she sees like an image
She
of a gray,
freaks.
she said even as a young girl, she would she drew this stuff out. And I mean,
like
she's
at
old,
3.
Yeah, and this is before like there was
Yeah.
a lot of that imagery everywhere. And she used to have like dreams about them coming and getting her, and they also her family as a whole does as well. It's not just her. And her grandmother is Japanese, and she doesn't really like to talk about that stuff, but apparently, like, that's something that
Even her
that-
grandmother has
yeah.
experiences. And
Well, it's mainly her and I think her mom and her aunt, but there is this phenomenon that she experiences sometimes, like waking up and she sees these astral maps like in front of her, and she's like trying to blink and getting rid of them because they're real disorienting, and it kind of freaks her out, and she'll just see it like kind of waving in front of her, and this is kind of like in the dark while she's still like kind of halfway asleep.
and then waking up periodically at
certain
the
time.
same time. Sometimes.
Oh,
Okay. Sometimes waking up at the same time, she may be having a nightmare about being abducted. And so she wakes up at the same time every night for, say, a week or so. Then she has this real fear that something going on, So
So
I don't know if you've ever heard of that or.
Yeah, when I led originally it was called the Austin Abductee Support Group, when my friend Gene Staffens founded that, and eventually we changed the name several times to be more inclusive because there was a wide variety. It wasn't just alien abduction experiences, it was a wide variety of close encounter experiences, near-death experiences, spiritual experiences, and so we heard a lot of interesting stories, many of which fit the classic description of alien abduction. And that was really where I did my best to provide information that I thought might be helpful to the person, but not necessarily, not therapy, not
Right.
not a belief system. I think part of the danger in so many of realms of investigating the unexplained, that there's established belief systems that it's very easy to fall into, and I think there needs to be a healthy level of skepticism when one approaches any of these things. And
Right.
but on the other hand, when someone is telling you this experience, as far as I'm concerned, I try to be as open-minded and unbiased about what I'm hearing them tell me, and because it's obviously very real for them, and that's the to my mind really important thing.
Yeah.
So
She definitely has those still to this day, and she's like really interested in doing the hypnosis to find out necessarily. I mean, she's done
Yeah.
hypnosis, but it hasn't.
To explore it more.
Yeah. Okay. Hello.
We have a caller.
Hello.
Hi, Christy.
Hi.
I had a question that I was wondering. Y'all all talked about the aliens coming or whatever. I was wanting to know, what is your feelings of why they are here, and how come they haven't made themselves known?
There you go.
Good question.